What's going on, everybody? Good evening. We are putting the final touches on the first week of football. Got the 49ers and Jets playing right now. But I wanted to go ahead and make a video now. And initially, I was planning to do a video with some injury updates from the Seattle Seahawks. And I gotta tell you, this team continues to hide as much information as possible when it comes to these injuries. So it was something that I felt like I noticed last week. Mike Macdonald was being as evasive and vague as possible when discussing injuries. And so far, that has continued. So that might just become the way things are done around here. And it's not a bad thing, for sure. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It'd be nice for our purposes if we could know what was going on. But if McDonald doesn't want to give away anything to other teams until he has to, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think there's probably a lot right with that. So McDonald was asked about Ken Walker in his afternoon press conference, and he said he's got nothing and we're taking it day by day. And he was also asked about George Fant and was basically on the same level, day by day, no update. So there's really not much to say there. From my angle, I think Walker is totally fine, and I think Fant's in trouble. Personally, I think Fant is in some trouble, and we might not see him for a little bit. I think K9 is totally fine though. That would be my read on it, but McDonald has given us nothing to work with. So, in lieu of that, because there weren't really any other injuries the Seahawks suffered yesterday, I want to turn the focus to a division rival that had far more injury issues and have had far more concrete updates than the Seattle Seahawks. I'm talking about the Los Angeles Rams. And I think that the Rams are generally considered to be the second best team in the division behind the Niners. And I think that if the Seahawks can play to their potential, the expectation is that the Seahawks and Rams would be kind of dueling for a wild card spot behind the 49ers. I think that's kind of where the hype is right now. So something like this is pretty big. So let's start with the big one. This is from ESPN, but it's from many other sources as well. Schefter had it. I think Rappaport had it. Pretty much everybody has it. Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua is going to miss some serious time. He is going to IR with a knee injury, will miss at least 4 games. Initially, the report was, we don't know if he's going to go on IR, but apparently McVay misspoke or something, and he actually meant, yeah, he's going on IR, so it's a done deal. I don't totally know what happened. If you look at the play where he supposedly got hurt, it looks like a very routine play. Apparently, it re-aggravated an injury he had in the offseason, so, that's the way it goes sometimes, obviously. Sometimes it doesn't look like anything obvious, and it still ends up being a major injury. So, Puka, who broke rookie records last year, had an incredible season, and was going to be a big part of what the Rams were going to do in 2024. He's missing at least a month. The way people are talking, I almost expect him to miss more, but we'll see when we get there. So that is a big loss, but it is not even close to the only loss the Rams dealt with. They got beat up. Not only did they lose the game last night, they lost the game. Although, I gotta say, they played really well, and they almost won that game despite losing so much. They lost so much before this game, and they lost a bunch during this game, and still, they pushed the Lions to overtime in Detroit. So, shout out to them, credit to them for finding a way to play well last night. But let's look at some of the other stuff that the Rams are dealing with right now. We got Ari Mirnov, the My Sports Update guy, with a rundown of all the non-Puka injuries. Steve Avila, who I guess is their starting center this year, MCL sprain, might go on injured reserve. So Avila's missing some games. He's definitely going to miss some games. And he is it sounds to me like he's going to go on IR based off some of the other things I've heard, which would be a significant loss. He was one of their key young offensive linemen this year. Joseph Noteboom, who played yesterday and went down pretty quickly, out for a few weeks with an ankle injury, so he could go on IR too. If he's going to miss a few weeks, I think you can make a pretty good argument that you may as well put him on IR. So I think that those two key pieces of their offensive line are going to be out for the next 4 games or so. Kevin Dotson is day-to-day with an ankle sprain. So that's basically the entire offensive line right there. So first of all, let me just say, I have no idea how the Rams almost won yesterday. That's an incredible job by the pieces they did have out there. Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, and of course Sean McVay. But remember, this team was already, at least if you went back to like the end of last season, was probably expecting to have Aaron Donald this year. They already don't have him because he retired. They really can't afford to be losing all these pieces of the Jenga tower here. Eventually, the tower is going to topple over. And remember, Havenstein, right tackle, was already out in week 1. Who knows when he'll be back? I don't get the sense it's a super serious injury right now, but you never know with that stuff. He's a 300-pound lineman. Those ankle injuries could keep you out a long time. So that is effectively the entire offensive line for this Rams team. Alaric Jackson is still suspended, by the way. He'll be back in week 3, I think. But I gotta ask, has this Rams season ended before it began, or just as it began? Is this already going to be kind of a wrap? Because they're protecting, this offensive line is supposed to be protecting a aging, beat up, ton of miles on his body quarterback in Matt Stafford, who played well last night outside of the interception, which was really bad. But this is not going to work if they can't protect him. And they are looking at a situation where they may have a full run of backups in next week, because they're definitely missing Avila. They're definitely missing Note Boom. They're definitely missing Alaric Jackson. Like, it could be the entire second unit for that Rams offensive line. By the way, I did hear a supposed story. I couldn't find anything official, so I think it was probably just people speculating, but someone even suggested that Stafford got hurt yesterday at some point. I don't know if it actually happened or not. I don't know if it's true, but it would make sense that he got hurt being protected by this mash unit of an offensive line. So you combine that with Puka, I think we got to start asking here, are the Rams just kind of stuck behind the 8 ball? I know they play the Packers in a few weeks, and that's probably going to be a relatively free win if the Packers still have Malik Willis. But it's going to be really hard to win any other games this year with this going on their offense. This is most of their offense. This isn't even like some of it or half of it. No, this is most of their offense. They're down to Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and I think they still have Tyler Higbee. Is Tyler Higbee healthy? He's okay. And Kyren Williams, who honestly I'm still not really high on. I don't think he's that good. I know he put up good numbers last year. Not really buying the hype on that one. But yeah, gotta ask. It's week 1. It's week 1. Are the Rams already kind of circling the drain here because of all these injuries? Because they already kind of indicated in the offseason a couple weeks ago when they traded Ernest Jones IV that they weren't really thinking about a deep run this year anyway. I think a team that is thinking about a deep run finds a way to pay that guy, or at the very least comes to some kind of middle ground agreement with him. But instead they just gave him away for very little. That to me is the move of a team that isn't really thinking about. I just realized how weird it looks on the screen with the top part of Sean McVay's head. Let me scroll down a little bit. That's starting to freak me out a little bit. So I don't know if it's better now. Yeah, what do you guys think? Is this already kind of a wrap for the Rams? Are they going to be a 5-win team this year? Remember, a couple years ago, just 2 years ago, they had a terrible season because of injuries. They lost Donald, they lost Stafford, they lost Kupp. What'd they win, like 5 games that year? They lost everything. I think they lost Leonard Floyd. The only star they had by the end of that year, I think, was Ramsey. So it's happened before. So it's not like Sean McVay is this wizard who can just overcome anything. He's shown that he's capable of having a bad season. He has his quarterback for the moment, but he will not have his quarterback for long if this is the situation with the offensive line. So let me know what you think. It's you always want to be delicate when you're talking about division rival injuries, because obviously it sucks, especially a guy like Puka. Puka used to play for the Huskies. I like that guy. I liked him coming out of college. I liked him, and I like what he did last year. Of course, that does suck. But we have to speak about these things analytically. We have to speak about these things categorically. And objectively speaking, if the Rams are already being kind of tossed to the side here because of these injuries, which honestly, personally, I kind of feel like this is not something they can overcome unless a lot of these guys get back very, very quickly, then yeah, that does change things. I mean, look at the Packers. The Packers were supposed to be a very much playoff team this year. And I feel like their season's already over because of the Jordan Love injury. So, of course, we have to talk about things in that way as well. All right. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday night game. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming tomorrow. Maybe I'll post another video later today, but it's pretty late, so probably not. Catch me on Twitch, and I'll see you guys tomorrow here on YouTube. Go Hawks.